That name gets further and further away from China, as opposed to calling it the Chinese virus. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Don't you understand, you dumb son of a bitch? Calling it Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Testing is a double-edged sword. They test and they test. People don't know what's going on. We got this, they got this. You do testing, you're gonna find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down. You know what? We got another one over here. Yeah. The young man's 10 years old. He's got the sniffles. That's a case. That's a case. Thank you, China. Send us to play. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Don't you understand, you dumb son of a bitch? Calling it Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Despite the fact that I have done a phenomenal job. He lied. I saved hundreds of thousands of lives. There was only one person that died. I ran for politics. Yeah! You're so lucky I'm president. There's a limit to what we can achieve. I stand before you today to declare Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Don't you understand, you dumb son of a bitch? Calling it Kung flu, the Chinese virus. If I lose an election over that, you know what? This country's in big trouble. Big trouble.
What the fuck, bro?
Here we go. Hour one.
You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Greetings, Earth Explorers. Welcome to X Squared Radio. I'm your host, Brooks Agnew, coming to you live from an undisclosed location east of the Appalachian Mountains. This is where the past meets the future in here. The results are always positive. We might go a little past your imagination, but have no fear. You will be safely traveling with us. Yes, we are live tonight. And, wow, the chat rooms are already filling up. Comfortably Numb, Baba Susie, Kathleen is there. Irel is there. Wrecking Ball 1776 is there. Carib 67. Blue Otter, good to see you out there, my friend. Ron Lepper, good to see you too. We have a lot of stuff to pack in tonight. Several major stories that I want to cover. I did want to let you know that we're not going to be having any class, so no webinars in June. I have a feeling I'm going to be operating heavy equipment on the weekends as we try to get this house kicked off. Building a house over there in Catawba County for the family. So lots going on, and June's going to be a busy month in other things. But we will resume classes in July, and the link is up on the website at brooksagnew.com, brooksagnew.blog, and you can just click on the webinars link and sign up. And it's about $47 for 5.5 hours of training. Plus you get a free book and you get a recording of the class when it's all done. And other goodies as well. Best $47 you can spend on yourself. You might as well get started. Old Dog, good to see you out there. I'm so glad. The team is all here. And by the way, we are expanding our expertise. As you know, Quantum Connections is on Mondays and Wednesday nights on the Truth Frequency Radio Network, which we are streaming to you live on audio tonight, because this is where the Truth Freaks hang out. And we're going to be adding a little video content to Quantum Connections as well. Hopefully that will take it up to the next notch. It's a great program, point counterpoint between myself and Lucky One. We cover the news of the day in a way that you probably don't hear much anywhere else. And we're also streaming to you live on video on Foxhole and Twitch and Facebook and DLive and Twitter and YouTube and Rumble and Rockfin. That's a lot of platforms. We do what we can to bring it to you free and live. And of course, you can always help us out by becoming a patron. That always helps. Every little bit helps to keep this going and keep the expansion going. So tonight's title story, we're going to begin with the title story. And then we're probably going to have to say goodbye to YouTube, because YouTube has been deleting my programs about as fast as I put them up. They're about a year and a half behind me. It's somewhere in 2021, early 2021 now. But they're catching up, and they delete programs one after the other, and censor me. And so we're going to censor them after about 30 minutes. So if you're listening on YouTube, I love you. Believe me, I love you, and I love the subscribers on YouTube. But as you know, Google routinely violates our civil rights, and we are not going to allow that to happen here. So we are going to censor them about 30 minutes into the program. So look down in the description and look across the screen, and I'll just show them to you one more time. All these different platforms: Foxhole, Twitch, Facebook, DLive, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, and Rockfin. You can select any one of those, and you'll hear the exact same program at the exact same time. We have a lot of listeners on every single one of those venues, and you're welcome to make the switch. Speaking of switches, tonight's lead story is kill switch. Now, that means a lot of things to a lot of people. But for those of us that know how to do stuff, it means something else, something a little higher, something a little more dangerous. The federal government and Silicon Valley are teaming up to clamp down on your freedom of movement. Oh, yeah. That's not something we're used to as Americans. We go where we want, when we want, how we want. Your ability to move about as you please, however, does not fit with their goals for the future of our world. Automobile-related freedoms. You know, they've been against them for a long time, since Ray LaHood said, we're going to get you out of your car and back on the trains, like everybody else in the world. Including access to fuel. Oh, you got access now, if you can afford it. Allow us to be free to move without the permission of Silicon Valley and the federal government. Automotive freedoms are part of the American culture. They're not just hobby related. You know, we get in our cars and we go sometimes no particular place just to be in the car. The car is an extension of our living room, our office, our lives. It becomes a part of us. We become a part of it. The radio, the air conditioning, the windows up or down, the rear wheels directly behind the front wheels, or not. However we want to drive it. They are essential to preventing yet another step along the road to serfdom at the hands of woke corporations and federal bureaucrats. Hillary Clinton doesn't even have a driver's license. I doubt she ever did. Never drove herself anywhere. Virtual Joe recently signed into law a requirement that all vehicles produced after 2026 be fitted with a remote kill switch. Electric vehicles are already equipped with this capability via internet-connected superchargers. These corporations can sell you a product for tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then prevent you from using it. And worse yet, if the law is not challenged or repealed, these kill switches will have a back door. It allows government agencies to shut your vehicle off remotely anytime they want. You make a bad tweet, park the car. You make a bad TikTok, park the car. You make a bad public statement, don't pay your child support on time, don't have the proper amount of debt, park your car. Thanks to programs like this one and X22 Report and Red Pill 78 and Just Human and all these other great guys that are out there doing great programs, the people are waking up to the reality that corporate managers are not on our side. And this should be among our top concerns. Internal combustion engines. I used to say when I was a kid, we'd build the engine and put it into a car, and, well, sometimes traffic laws were meant to be flaunted. I'm going to say that. Drag racing. I used to say internal combustions are here to stay. You know, it's just they sound good. They feel good. It's just there's nothing quite like an American-built V8, right? Huh? Nothing like a Harley-Davidson sound. Nothing like hearing open headers on the other side of town. So far, we're still free of the nanny state controls that are standard on electric vehicles. Not mine, but others. So preservation, of our access to gasoline and diesel fuel is an absolute necessity. Even if it costs, what was it? I think I saw $5.45 a gallon for diesel fuel yesterday. It cost me $14.35 to fill up my Harley yesterday. Now that's just a crime. It's just a crime. Right to repair is also an important issue. You ever go to AutoZone? Ever go to Advance or O'Reilly's? Ever go to Napa or one of the other jobber stores? It's because people work on their own cars. People do their own brakes. They change their own wiper blades. They change their own instruments. They build cars, rebuild cars, repair cars in their own garage. It is not, as some techno-authoritarians claim, a simple matter of tinkerers. Although we do like to tinker. We like to tamper. We tamper. Screw you, EPA. Rather, it's a critical component of our American ability to maintain freedom of movement. The right to repair ensures that we are able to hire independent professionals or ourselves to repair our own vehicles, and other products, washing machines, TVs, computers, these other products, rather than being forced to pay astronomical prices to manufacturers or just throw them away. It means we can build our own houses if we want to. We can raise our own children and much, much more. We could even make our own baby formula if we had to. Now that the environmental superiority of electric vehicles is being called into question, and I'm not exactly sure who would have done that, it might have been me, the real agenda behind climate hysteria is clear. We've told you, and others have told you. Climate change fear mongers want poorer and unable to travel, and they want us not to be able to commute as we see fit. As Virtual Joe and his gang of criminals' intentional policy of high gas prices hits the average American right in the pocket, it's important to note that the cost of EV batteries is also rising. It fell for a while because demand kind of slacked off a little bit. But subsidized demand for these batteries has led to a massive increase in the price of what we call conflict minerals. You know what blood diamonds are, right? They're big diamonds that make their way into the black market, and they're traded for weapons to kill people. That's why they're called blood diamonds. Well, conflict minerals are basically the same thing. ECOWAS, which is the Economic Organization of West African States, they took over all the mines in South Africa and Africa, Northern Africa, in an effort to keep gold and diamonds and emeralds and topazes and these precious, semi-precious gems even out of the hands of warlords. And they controlled the price of the gems. And it's done a lot to bring some modicum of peace to those countries. But we are in an age of what are called conflict minerals. Oil has always been a conflict mineral. We have gone to war over oil, right? But now we're dealing with lithium and we're dealing with cobalt. These are two key elements that go into electric batteries. You got to have them. Without them, you can't make the batteries of the kind of a storage capacity that can handle the demand of a car. And there's only a 3-year supply of lithium on Earth that's presently being mined. And it takes years to get a mine ready to go, because it, along with cobalt and other rare minerals, are an environmental disaster to get out of the ground and prepare for making batteries. That's why we don't do it. It's a mess, and it's almost impossible to reclaim the land. Electric vehicles are not lower in price than internal combustion vehicles. Currently, the average price of an electric vehicle is $56,000. And if it wasn't for the federal incentives to buy, they wouldn't be selling at all. And what does this say about your ability to travel freely in the coming years if the federal government effectively bans our use of internal combustion engines? You're not going to be able to jump into your electric vehicle and drive to LA from Atlanta. You're not going to be able to drive from New York to Miami. Not in a few hours like you can today. I can drive from here to DC in about 9 hours, stopping once or twice for gas. Can't do that in an electric vehicle. Never going to happen. There is a niche where these vehicles are more economical, but the industry as a whole has ignored that niche completely. Why? Because it is not about saving the planet from warming. It is about saving the planet for the ultra-elite political class. It is about moving wealth from your hands into their hands and grounding you for the next few generations. Further, the global media empire, which is 6 rich white guys and 3 tech giants, that's the global media empire. They want you too blind to see the horrifying human rights record associated with cobalt and lithium mining. People are dying. Child slavery, extremely poor working conditions, and poisoned rivers are just a few of the problems that plague the extraction of these minerals. You don't want either one of these kinds of mines anywhere close to where you live or where you get your drinking water or where you fish for food or where you grow crops. One could reasonably ask the virtual Joe and his gang of criminals administration why the American public is being forced to subsidize the horrifying human rights record associated with the mining of these resources. Though the near magical power of innovation is an article of faith for most people, technological change does not always benefit the average guy. You know, there was a movie made a long time ago called, White something to the moon. Basically it was white guys going to the moon while people of color can't eat. And Marjorie Taylor Greene gave this speech. Well, she changed the names a little bit, but it basically was $40 billion for Ukraine with no baby formula for mothers and their babies. It's the same kind of speech, just a little different change. There is nothing inevitable about these so-called innovations or the politically driven subsidies that enable them. There is nothing inevitable about the burdens that this technological change will put on the average person. We need only have the courage of our convictions, combined with the backing of knowledgeable groups like, for instance, the SEMA Action Network, to ensure that we are not forced to subsidize real environmental hazards, human rights abuses, and the restriction of our own freedom of movement. You know where wealth was when I was young? It was in the junkyards. Just a month and a half ago, pull the door off of a Ford Ranger and put it on my electric truck. That Ford Ranger was wrecked on the passenger side. On the driver's side, it had a perfectly good door that I needed. So I unbolted it and took it home. I paid $50 for it, but that's what I'm talking about. Junkyards are gold mines. Motors and differentials and transmissions and wheels and seats and all kinds of things that can live again in another vehicle. And it doesn't stop there. There's all kinds of industries that are kept alive for the average person. If you don't believe me, go to a farm, any farm, I don't care, small or big. I guarantee you're going to find people on that farm that know how to do stuff. They know how to fix stuff. They know how to take 75-year-old manure spreaders and pull them behind a tractor and make them work again. They know how to run a sawmill to cut logs in the woods. They know how to do stuff. What is the song? A country boy can survive? Yeah, true. City boys know how to do stuff too. We can make an old car run again and run well. I have a friend, Leon, who's one of the best upholsterers you ever saw, and took cars that were beyond hope and turned them into gems again because he's that skilled. All right, so all the people that are listening on YouTube, let me see how many people we got out there. Officially, it says we have about 40 people on YouTube listening live. That's a pretty good group. I don't want to say good night to all of you, so I want to give you a few minutes to make the switch. Go over to Rumble. Go over to Twitch. Go to one of the other platforms. They're free too, and it's the same quality. You won't be able to surf around YouTube while you're listening to me, but that's okay, because we're about to censor YouTube. You got 60 seconds to make the move. I hate to say goodbye to you. I really do, but they're going to delete this program if I don't preempt it, because we're about to go into a subject for which they have already gigged me a few times, and I don't want to go through that again. I'm going to deny them the satisfaction of doing it. 30 seconds. There you go. Move over to Foxhole. They have a great platform. Or move over to Rockfin, R-O-K-F-I-N, R-O-K-F-I-N. Few people there listening as well. You can even watch us on my Facebook channel, Brooks Agnew. Easy to do. That's my Facebook. Or on Twitter, if you want to. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good night, YouTube.